I do it? Did I do it? Did I do it? Listen, it's been a minute. It's been a good minute since I have been live on YouTube. So like, give me a breath, give me a moment, give me a second. I tried to fix as much as I could, but listen, I'm not the best at the fixing of things. So, currently, wrong thing. I moved the wrong thing. Don't beat me up, please. I'm like, don't beat me up, please. Let me live my life. Thank you. Listen, I want to play more. I did this so early because I actually just want to get back on Twitch and play more Outriders because I like that. So first of all, I did this hella early. Again, I want to stream on Twitch and play my game, but I wanted to talk about this situation while I still had the guts to do so because I get really nervous streaming on YouTube now. It makes me, I don't know why. I'm a child. Anywho's, it's hi, what's up? It's me. I'm Audra. Welcome to my channel where I do whatever I want because this is a hobby and not a job. And to that end, I would like to thank my patrons and my channel members without whom I would not be able to take such long breaks in between creating content. It's been an interesting time for me right now because my route just got cut. It is nice. It is relaxing. But I underestimated how much my body actually needs rest as I do every single time. Every time I go, oop, I forgot that my body might want some rest. And so I did not do those things that I needed to do. And I'm catching up on the rest. I'm having a time. But as soon as I can get that fixed, as well as the internet so that we can have movie night, because there's something going on with Zoom and there's something going on with my internet to where connectivity is really weird. Like a stream will be fine, but it's like disconnecting randomly from websites. Nobody cares. I just wanted to put that out there so that we can actually watch the movies because that's the main thing I like to do for us. So thank you. Before I also get started, I do want to say I'm going to be talking about some things that might be triggering for people. And it's really important that you take care of your mental health first and foremost. So I understand if you can't be here for this, that's fine. Dip out, take care of yourself. Also, most importantly, I'm not having this conversation so that we can send hate to anybody. So it's really important that we do not send hate to anyone. And that includes in our own comments. Okay. We can talk in the chat. We can keep it cute in the comments after the live stream. There will be no attacking. I have a very strong block hand. I do not care. All right. I'm not going to be the kind of person that allows the attacking of another person. We can talk about the actions that are being taken without going low. So for a quick example, for those of you who might be like, what do you mean? Let's just throw it over to like the Jaclyn Hill situations where people would use that to attack the way that she looks. I do not condone that kind of behavior. So don't do it. All right. So those things are done. And in that vein, it is a beautiful day to respect other people's pronouns. So Samurai Soda, welcome. Welcome to the membership. Thank you. Rest is good, and sometimes a nap or 5 just won't cut it. You need several days to just veg out in long-term reduction of stuff you do. Yeah, I think it's been over a year. At this point, almost a year and a half, where I've been working 12 hours every day that I've worked, sometimes 14 hours. And I just completely underestimated how much like my body, once that wasn't happening, would just be like, it was just like, okay, we're going to go to sleep. Ooh, you know what I forgot? Lip gloss. Please don't beat me up. I'm so sorry, but like my lips are really dry. And I don't want to fight. So I hope the music isn't too loud. If y'all can still hear it, I hope it's not too loud and irritating. But I like to have on a little something in the background. Hi, Clarity. How are you? I like that. Clarity. I got you. So for to even start talking about this particular situation going on with RawBeautyKristi, a very large beauty content creator or former large beauty content creator, depending on what video of hers you catch, she's either homesteading or talking about beauty stuff and beauty drama. We have to first like rewind, right? Because I don't want to just start in the middle of things. So I'm going to take a little page from Mika's rhetoric, and I'm just going to go, this is chapter 1. We're just going to talk about what really blew up RawBeautyKristi. And the thing that really got her to like huge prominence was her video that she did on the Jaclyn Hill lipsticks. For those of you who do not know, the Jaclyn Hill lipstick gate was like, okay. So it's not, can I put it here? How about now? I'm like, let me know now. But Lipstick Gate was a Fast and Furious, like, big thing that happened here in the YouTube and beauty community, in which Jaclyn Hill put out a line of lipsticks. It was, I believe, her first product that she put out from her. I got belchies. Sorry, coffee gives me burps. From her line. Her makeup line, which has since collapsed. I'm just going to sit here, smile and nod and look cute. You do that because you're doing it. And so what ended up happening was exactly Forever Candace. You know what I'm talking about. What ended up happening is Kristi was doing her review of the lipsticks and ended up finding a few things in her lipstick. As such, therefore, and forthwith, she brought out the microscope. All right. And it was the microscope seen round the world of beauty, because it was huge. We were all seeing all these weird things, and it did prompt people, like every time they found like a little anything in their lipstick moving forward, to pull out like a microscope. Everybody was just like into it. And that really catapulted Kristi to really huge heights. And the thing about it is, I was watching her videos. I was a RBK, RawBeautyKristi fan, up until she started to backpedal from that video. And I was like, girl, don't act like that. That's not cute. And the reason that was my moment where I started to back off from watching is because I understand what it takes to make a video. I make videos. It doesn't seem like it. I made a 3-hour video for no good reason other than I wanted to see that I could. It's on the perfect match. You do not have to watch it. I'm just proud of myself because I used that as a template for me to be able to move forward with making longer form content. So that said, I know what it takes to make a video. I know that you sat there and you filmed this. You saw the thing. You went, you got your microscope. You continued filming. You edited this video. You uploaded this video. You created a thumbnail. You created a description box. You promoted said video. Like, you did the things, so you can't be surprised that made it, big, and that everybody was like, oh my gosh, look at this. And it was everywhere. It was in all the drama channel videos. It was everywhere. And yeah, Pretty Pastel Please, RIP, came out wearing a whole yellow biohazard suit. 100%. Like, this thing was, I don't think people, no face, I'm distracted because you look freaking amazing today. Oh my God, thank you. I washed my hair today. Listen, I was supposed to do this yesterday. I couldn't. Like I said, I didn't realize how tired I was. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to close my eyes for like an hour. And then 4 hours later, I was like, oh no, oops. But I don't think people really understand like the impact that Lipstick Gate had. It didn't have enough impact to stop Jaclyn from making products and selling them. I still have a blush palette from her. And Dark Angel is bringing up the next point. A lot of people started backing off when she got pregnant. There's no hate to people who have children and you getting pregnant, but I don't ever sign up for anybody's baby content. I do not care. I don't care about your baby. I'm not there for all of that. I don't show up to your channel for that. Like, if you're like announcing your pregnancy, I'll take the announcement, but if every other sentence is going to be about your baby, I just can't do it because I don't have kids because I don't want them. I also know plenty of mothers who have children, so they don't want to hear about children. They're like, listen, fun fact, I have those things, and I came here for makeup and fun to have a distraction from the gremlins that I have birthed. No hate to kids. I call them gremlins. I call my own dog a gremlin. It's fine. Everything. When I love things, I call them gremlins. It's fine. But even that for me was enough. And it finally hit the tipping point. For those of you who may not know or understand or weren't on Twitter when this started taking place, she had a very rough birth. And I'm not going to go into it because it's not my story to tell. The video is still up on her channel. If you want to go see that, you can definitely go do that. It will not be for me to share that with you because I don't like birth stories at all, especially when they're horrific. I'm like, oh, all the reasons I don't want to have children, right? So once she had her son, it started getting weird on Twitter with her having a mental health crisis. Now, here's the thing. I am an advocate for mental health. I have, depending on the day, medium to poor, right? Medium to poor mental health. It fluctuates. And I love that people will talk about mental health. I love that people make it so that we can feel less shame. We're still working on that because like some of y'all need some help. Everybody cares about mental health until somebody says they haven't brushed their teeth in a week and then you're being nasty. That's part of depression. That's an issue with a lot of varying neurodivergent mental health issues. So like, don't do that. But but the reality here is people started to tell her like, hey, you need to take this offline. Like get off the internet asking for help. You have to go see somebody because you can't be here asking a bunch of strangers on the internet as to what to do about your mental health because it's not good for you anyway. That's actually only going to make the majority of us, our mental health is literally only going to get worse from that, right? Like if you get online and start being like, I'm experiencing this, and this, you get everybody from the people who know what they're talking about to the absolute kooks who are telling you to do like really wild things that don't actually help anything. They're like, put a potato on your feet, babes. I have PPD. Like that's not helping. A potato on my feet is not going to fix that. So that really blew up as she was going through her mental health crisis, which she did start to fix. I do think that overall, like she's a very anxious person. She's talked about this before. She has a video called I'm a Hypochondriac. Like she's well aware of these things and does talk about them openly, which I admire. And so you had quite a few people falling off from her because I believe it was right around her pregnancy announcement, I feel like is right around where she hit 1 million subscribers. But as the online mental health crisis started to escalate, a lot of people started to back off because it's worrying. And if you can't help somebody, I'm a person who likes to be able to like see active change, to be able to see that I can do something for somebody. And if I see you slipping into the deep end, there's nothing I can do. I can't help. I can't fix it. So I'm not going to watch it either. I'm the same with Britney Spears. Glad baby girl is free. Doesn't mean she doesn't need help. And so I'm not watching her. I don't watch her on the Instagrams and all the things anymore. I try not to read stories about her because I'm like, baby, I just need you to relax, take whatever it is you feel comfortable taking, especially after you've been forced to take things. Do that. And we'll talk because right now it's weird over there and I'm not going to take part in that. I'm not going to monetize anybody's mental health crisis. And yeah, clarity. Things got a bit too parasocial from the creator's perspective at the time. So I took multiple steps back, and I believe because I'm literally the person where if somebody says they're pregnant, I unsubscribe. I'm sorry, Tiffany Ferg, but I do. I I can't stay because I know that eventually it's going to move over into baby content, which is what happened with Kristi. She started living in her dream hobbit house in the woods, which again is not relatable to a lot of people, like the regular plebeians down here that don't have a lot of money. There's nothing wrong with her having money and spending it how she wants to. But if you're going to talk about how she originally started as a beauty content creator that was relatable, and that was her whole thing. You're not my real dad, butt shit, butthole lips, like the whole thing. It was very much like you could relate to her as a person. And regardless of how you feel about relatability, there's nothing inherently wrong with somebody being relatable to you. There's nothing wrong with you no longer finding them relatable and moving on. That's fine. That's everything really does work on how much you relate to someone or something. That is how advertising works. That's how everything works. So it's not like, ugh. It's not a terrible thing. Just like parasocial relationships aren't actually bad. It's how you interact in them. If you're aware you're in a parasocial relationship, it's fine. And if you notice that you're overstepping and you put yourself back in place, that's fine. It's when you think that like, we are actually friends. No, that's getting weird. It's making me uncomfortable. Unless we are friends, undateable black girl, in which case, that's fine. Samurai stoner, fine. But sorry, I'm like, it's really hot in Texas, and when I have the big light on like this, I have to, and I'm drinking hot coffee, so I'm not going to be over here sweating my life away. And Forever Candace says, it was scary and sad because I was experiencing being a new mom again after 20 years. Yes, my kids are 20 and 16 years apart. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And her content was absolutely weird and dark and I don't know, just bizarre. Yeah. Elsie said, my daughter is having a baby in November. Her oldest is 21. Her youngest is 8. I love babies, but I hate baby content. I can't stand it. I also, if you'll notice that generally, if you follow me on Instagram, I share a lot of TikToks. And as a rule that I've set for myself, I tend to try really hard not to share any content with children in it, period, at all, because I don't like that people monetize their children. And that's like the hill that I'm trying to die on. You know what I mean? So I don't agree with any of that. And so I personally, watching her, kind of go through this, I was like, girl, this is too much for me. I hope you get help. And it was good to see that she was getting better. So that's like the trajectory of what was going on with RawBeautyKristi. She starts, doing makeup. She also got pretty big doing amazing Halloween looks, but because YouTube is YouTube, and monetization is weird, those videos would get demonetized. She moved away from doing that into just like only doing regular beauty content. ColourPop, not my real dad, Lipstick Gate, yay, I'm pregnant, terrible birth story, mental health crisis, begins to get better, moves into homesteading, starts a channel with her husband that's them having their hobbit life, I guess. Good for y'all. Very happy for you. And now we're here. And there's been a few different scandals. And that's, I guess, chapter 2. Part 2. Before I get in there, I'm going to look at the comments. I just came with grandma last month. That's weird that we as a culture seem to agree now that child stars of TV and movies are exploited and experience trauma as a result, but haven't generalized that to online content too. Yeah, 100%. I don't like to share content with kids at all. I don't care how cute or sassy your kid is being. Like sometimes it's very difficult because, I'll come across some of the most beautiful babies I've ever seen in my life. Most beautiful babies I've ever seen in my entire life. And I'm like, are you sure that this kid isn't AI generated? Because this is on another level. But I try really hard not to share it. And I will, like, sometimes I'll go to share it and then remind myself, like, I'm not sharing children content. So I'm just trying to make sure of that. Audra, were you impacted by Beryl? We lost power for about 8 hours and had to fish a lot of stuff out of the pool, but came away lucky. We are between H-Town and Galveston. No. Like, yes, but no. We got a little bit of rain, okay? Just a little bit of rain, okay? We get a little bit of rain here. I'm in North Texas. It cooled the temperatures down. Now it's going to be gross, and I'm not looking forward to that at all. It's going to be gross out here. It's going to be hot and muggy. And I hate muggy because I'm not really a person who sweats in the front. You can't really see me sweating here. However, sheets of sweat are just rolling down my back and I hate it. I've started like I'll message my friends and just be like, it's so hot, this shirt is already grabbing my back. So I don't like that. Speaking of parasocial, I narrowly avoided giving Teresa is dead and her husband out. No! Oh my God. Listen, that's not actually parasocial if you're in the neighborhood. Like, that's actually social. I just was saying. I could never do a social meetup because I'm very awkward. And I'm not saying that to be like, I'm so quirky and awkward. Like, I'm literally awkward. It makes me extremely uncomfortable. Hi, Felisa. Listen. Also, just a side note, because Felisa, I've been learning so much about my natural hair. So if anybody has anything to say about it, don't, because I have a lot of hair. It is very, very thick, but my strands are fine. Please don't be all put this and put that in it, because baby, more than 2 products and my hair is done for. I have to wash it immediately the next day. And I already don't love to wash my hair. I have to wash it separately from being in the shower. Not just because I'm black, but because I don't like hair off the body. And if one hair slithers down my skin, I am done for. I gag. I cannot handle it. The last time I tried to wash my hair in the shower, I almost threw up. So let me live. I mean, it's parasocial. It's still parasocial because we didn't meet up. But you were going to. But currently it's parasocial. You're correct, Cal. Glad you're okay, Audra. Lots of folks still without power. Yeah, listen, the world, and I know that people are like, anybody who's come into this and like watching it now or watching it on the replay is like, the world is, everything can be happening at the same time. The world is trash. There are terrible things happening. I don't want to focus on that right now because my mental health can't take it. So like, I can't deal with that. So instead, we're going to talk about this stuff. So now we're going to get into part 2 of this, which is like some of the scandals that RBK has had. Obviously, one of them was, I wouldn't call the mental health crisis a scandal like some people would, but I would not call that a scandal because it's not like she did anything to cause problems. There was an incident with a sombrero and people trying to explain to her that that's cultural appropriation, the way that she was doing it, and her not really caring and flipping off the camera wearing a sombrero. Sometimes white women. And you know what you have to learn about it when white women, just turn away, because that's what they do. If they're gonna do that, just leave it alone. Don't keep antagonizing them, because it only like empowers them. You know what I mean? It's like the magic mushrooms in Mario. They're just like boop boop boop. So like let's like just let them try to explain something to them, and then they're just gonna do whatever. They're gonna wear a dress and go to Halloween as canceled. So like, just let them do their attention seeking thing. And so you had that. The biggest one though, that really turned a lot of people off of RawBeautyKristi it was that last year, because I feel like it had to be last year because I've been in this house long enough that it had to have been last year, because I was in my apartment when I was talking about it. And this was when people discovered that she was still following James Charles, the Pedialyte, who just very much continues Pedialyte behavior. Due to censorship, I must say it that way. So thank you. So the thing is, people brought it up to her. We're like, hey, you're following James Charles, a known PDF file. What are you doing? And the reason that this became such a big deal is very specific to the fact that she had just recently had a video talking about Colleen Ballinger, who we also know was accused of grooming and acting, PDF file-like. And so she had a whole thing talking about how that's terrible and la 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 la, calling her out, blah, blah, blah. But when it came to James Charles, she was mum. And for me, I was like, babes, I'm not really surprised by this behavior in the beauty community. I do believe I said something to the effect of, I think a lot of people were disappointed because Kristi's original image for a lot of us was that she was not like the other beauty content creators. And this just solidified that she was exactly like them. When it comes down to their dollar, when it comes down to the money that they want to make, they don't care as long as they keep making their money. And so she did quietly unfollow him at one point, and she's never really talked about that. Instead, she busted out a fun MLM video. And in fact, Peter did a couple videos talking about this. And Peter Mon. And the thing that really bothered me about this situation was the amount of people trying to attack Peter and say, you can't tell her what to do. And Peter going, I did not say she had to do a thing. I was just giving advice. Like, I'm not bullying her into doing anything. I'm just saying you can't do both things. You can't, on the one hand, call out Colleen, which she did. And she did that very specifically because Colleen Ballinger is not in her community, right? She's not going to call out James Charles, who is in her community and could potentially affect her income. That's my opinion. Thank you, Andrea. Isn't her channel art on her YouTube page inspired by James Charles too? Baby, listen. I don't understand a lot of the large beauty creators. Like, I do understand it, but I also don't understand it. You know, I'm still of the mind to this very day, okay, that Jalopity Staircase has nothing on any of those people. What he has is fear. I'm just going to throw that in here, right, Quark? You know, what he has is fear. What he has is that all of those people know how they behaved in his presence. And the very idea that he might have some kind of audio or video evidence of it scared them enough to back off of bothering him. Because as nasty as a shark as he is, okay, if he's getting dragged down to hell, he's taking everybody with him. That's who he is. All right. That's who he is. If he's going to hell, you're coming with him. So if he had stuff on them when he was being dropped into the puddle of mud, he would have taken them. So that's just my opinion. Anyways, that's why I started watching her. I thought she was different. Then I became extremely disappointed. Yeah. I mean, like, I have so many thoughts on the beauty community and why it's gonna just keep declining, but that's a video for another day, maybe. Hello, gorgeous. Hi, happy squirrels. Yes, I do mean Jay Sar. I do. I do call him Jalopity Staircase because he's raggedy. So the James Charles situation happened, and it really did change a lot of people's opinions on her. And I personally think that it really hurt her brand a lot because, and actually you can clearly see it in her videos. If you look at her channel right now, her core audience, when she's doing her more like homesteady, relaxed, like come do stuff with me videos, her core audience is approximately between, I'm going to say 56 and 76K. And if you don't do YouTube, I'm going to explain a core audience, right? So a core audience are those people who watch every single thing that you put out. And you can tell what your core audience looks like when you put out videos that aren't what people are used to. So in my case, that is why I say thank you to the 579 people who watch this. It is not meant to like be a slight or a dig. It is not meant to make fun of myself. It's not meant to force people to feel like they have to like or watch the video. It is literally me thanking my core audience. That is what I'm doing. And anytime I say that in a video, I am saying it because I'm literally thanking that core audience that watches everything that I put out, because without y'all, I wouldn't keep putting out content. Like, I would just not do it. If y'all weren't there and y'all didn't enjoy it, I'd be like, okay, that's fine. I'm not gonna, y'all don't. But like, if this video were to get like, say, just for S's and G's, let's just say that it gets like 3K views. Those extra 2,500 people are not my regular core audience. They're people who might be subscribed but only watch commentary videos that I put out. They're not interested in the media or any of that. So they do all of that good stuff. And that's how that works. So Kristi's core audience, they will watch her homesteading content repeatedly and they don't mind watching it. And they don't mind watching it and they enjoy all of that stuff. But you can clearly see the difference in between when she does makeup content, which garners bigger views, especially if it's controversial, and when she does the more homesteady, chill, like, oh, I'm gonna go gather this or that, right? Like, I'm gonna show you more hobbit living, I'm this thing and that thing. So that's where that is. Hello, my gorgeous natural hair beauty and all the wonderful people in the chat. Thank you. Listen, it's wonderful. When you like your hair, it's just like, blah, blah, blah. Jalopity is afoot on TikTok. I like to refer to beauty TikTok as not all beauty TikTok, but it is the kick of beauty. And if you don't know what kick is Twitch's alternative, but it's mostly filled with people who are canceled. So there's that. And not just canceled, but banned everywhere else. And then here they are. So that's where James Charles is. That is where Jalopy Staircase is. That's where all of those folks go to, I guess, gather a new group of people who don't know all of the things that they've done. Listen, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I'm not a saint. I fell for he apologized because I didn't even know what Jalopy Staircase did when I first came in. I was like, I had videos where I was like, leave him alone. And then I was like, oh my God. Ugh, ugh. You know, it was very much that I remember when I lost my mind. It was very much that. If you've seen the meme on TikTok, you know what I'm talking about. So, with all that being said, we are now here. And again, just before I move into chapter 3, current situation, the issue with her not talking about James Charles and just brushing past it like it didn't happen, again, is problematic in multiple ways, especially because these kinds of things that happen, these content creators, whenever they get called out for doing these kinds of things, they always come out with some kind of my mental health is failing me and use mental health as a shield. Kristi is not the only person who's done that. We've seen Jaclyn Hill do it. We saw, what is that man's name? James Somerton used it. Really, really quite ugly. But a lot of people do that. And this is why I find that so distasteful and disgusting, is because it forces everyone around to not be able to discuss the situation at hand because everybody's afraid that something might happen to you, you might do something negative. And so they're weaponizing their mental health against anybody who might speak out about them. So I'm an advocate for mental health. I'm an advocate for, sitting in your depression nest until you feel better to get out of it. I'm an advocate for not feeling like a failure because your house is a complete disaster. If you are experiencing that right now and you've rolled into chat, congratulations. Look at you. You are moving. Even if you're laying in bed watching this on your phone or your TV, you are doing something. So I'm proud of you. Depression is hard. So I'm an advocate for mental health, and that is why it will always bother me when somebody utilizes and weaponizes their mental health. So now we are here, and I did get permission from this Reddit user to be able to put their information up on screen. And I know that it is a public forum. However, just me being the kind of person that I am, I know that these types of videos can sometimes go further than I expect them to go. And I don't want somebody on the internet in a way that they weren't expecting to be, right? It's one thing to post on Reddit. It's a whole other for it to be in a YouTube video. So I did get the permission for that. And this is where we are right now. It's not good. It's not good, my love. All right. This is really bad news. This was posted by Mafia Girls Fashion. I'm going to start this out by saying all of this is alleged. I can't stress that enough. And again, we're not sending hate. We're not being mean. We're not going over to her channel and being jerks. Okay? If you have things to say, Just don't dogpile on somebody who's already very anxious. I know that she's an anxious person, and that's why these things are very difficult, and that's why it made me like stressed out to even have this conversation. But I think it's important to have, because this is something we're very consistently seeing that people do. Okay. So this was posted in R faux moi, and it's like faux pas, I think, but faux moi. Huh? I'm sorry. And it says beauty YouTuber RawBeautyKristi is hiding her anti-LGBTQ views from her followers. So this actually goes into them talking about like their following and all of this stuff, but they couldn't understand what people liked about her and became completely fascinated by her, especially as I saw hints of her falling into the crunchy to alt-right pipeline. And this is something that we see a lot. Oh, thank y'all. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate it. Y'all are so kind and wonderful, and I love you. Oh, hold on. Let me just pop over here right quick and do this. Boom. All right. And now we're back. All right. So they were subtle things that could be explained away. Example, she shared a post about food with health misinformation from a right-wing carnivore diet type Instagram. Maybe she just saw the post on her Insta feed and didn't realize where it came from. She started wearing a cross, reading the Bible, attending church. Maybe it's a progressive church. She blocks anyone asking her about vaccines. There's only anecdotal evidence, so maybe that's not true. She started using phrases common with fundies. Maybe she just picked it up from her religious family members, etc. And as of the 4th of July, I discovered solid information of Kristi's descent to the right. Now, before I go into this a little bit further, I want to say this, because I don't want people thinking that because you're religious that makes you a terrible bad person. There's nothing wrong with you being religious, as long as you are happy with yourself and it's not negatively impacting those around you. Good for you. Have your beliefs. I believe everybody should be able to do that. But when we get into vaccines and vax conversations, the reason that I find it so dangerous, it's not just not vaccinating your children in and of itself. It's that you are talking about this from a position of privilege. You are able to have these kinds of conversations in a privileged position. The average person down here who takes your advice doesn't have the luxury of their children not coming into contact with other kids. They don't have the luxury of homeschooling their kids. So that is the biggest difference. Rich people with money can tout this all day long because their kids do not have to come into contact with the rest of the population if they don't want them to. And so when you're down here and you have to send your kids to public school and daycare and all of those things, and you're not understanding that this person is telling you this from up on high, that's where the danger really comes in, right? Because you're now able to expose all of these other people who didn't ask for that. And don't do that. If vaccines work, then they wouldn't have any problems. That's not exactly how everything works. Nothing is foolproof, right? Okay. That's why you get your tetanus shot boosted, right? Okay. And even if you had it like 5 years ago, but you get like a rusty nail, they're going to give it to you again, just in case, just to make sure it's like better for you. Work in progress. I really think she was always this way. She just never shared it until recently. And that's the gag. Because listen, Tati, Amanda Insing, even Jaclyn Hill at this point, they all have the same thing in common. I'm going to get to that by the end of this, and it's going to make some people mad. I don't care. But I'm going to do it. Oh, bud, you're not a fool for giving people a chance. History proved leave Britney alone guy right. It's only daft when people keep the blinkers on after clear patterns and or victimizing others, in my opinion. Hell yeah, Ezra. Yeah. Clarity, they can also afford better care when they get sick because vaccines are poison. That's the other thing. Like, they have money to take care of their families in ways that you do not. Like, we always have to remember that when people are telling us things from their privileged position, we have to like consider why they can do that. You have to sit for a minute and be like, oh, well, of course you can do that because your kid isn't coming into contact with the rest of the kids. So Oh, no, Ezra, you're fine. Okay, this is so tricky as a leftist who has genuinely found a mostly carnivore diet helpful for my multiple chronic illnesses after 13 years vegan. Either can be cultish, but neither inherently political, 100%. But there is a pipeline in between food and distrusting food in general into the alt-right. I'm not super qualified to go into that today. I have done a little bit of reading on it, but a lot of it has to do with the distrust in the government and how the food is regulated and all of these kinds of things. And it helps you fall into this trap of fear where everything is out to get you. Because I can't be a vegan or a vegetarian. I have thyroid issues. My body burns things too quickly. It's not great for me if I don't have meat at least twice a day. And I also have a very physically demanding job. So I need all the protein and all the carbs just to be able to exist. So I will 100% be like, I think she was always like this. So now we're going to get back into this. And so it says, since her son was a baby, she has often discussed her interest in homeschooling with her followers. At one point, she asked her followers if it was possible to build a mini school on her property and hire a teacher to come to them. I will get back to this at the end of the post. A few days ago, she confirmed that she had decided to send her son to a homeschool co-op when he starts school later this year. So this is the photo that has they ask me a question. I do this sometimes on Instagram, but very few people ask me questions. So I just don't care. Nobody asked me anything, and then I feel dumb for having done so. I'm like, oop, I'm a flop. And then I just don't do it again. But there is a function where you can be like, ask me anything or whatever. People ask you questions. And so it said, have you decided on homeschooling or not? This is the post of her saying, yes, we will be homeschooling with a homeschool co-op. So that is where we're standing. It's giving midsummer. Listen, please hold. It's my mom. I'm so sorry, y'all. She's probably going to bring me food. Sorry, y'all. She was in fact asking if I wanted some food, and I do. So I'm always hungry. It's interesting that food is involved, especially since she rides hard for HelloFresh for years. Listen, I'm never gonna. And the thing about homeschooling that I also want to impart is I am 100% behind it for two very specific reasons. One is accessibility issues, because especially when it comes to disabled children, there are a lot of accessibility issues with them being able to have their kids in school and be accommodated appropriately, right? The other thing is bullying. I 1000% think that you need to be able to take your children out of school if you know that the school will do nothing to help the bullying that your child is receiving. They should not have to be impacted by that. They should not have to deal with that. Bullying is not a part of life. It should not be a normal part of growing up. I'm fine with that. However, if you're homeschooling to weirdly indoctrinate your child, I have a lot of issues with that. I also have issues with it because of socialization. I know when I was growing up in Texas, you had to put your kid in school in high school. They could homeschool up until ninth grade, and then they had to come to school. Those kids were very awkward. I always tried to be nice to them because I felt like it had to be so weird to suddenly be in this huge social thing. And if you've ever been to a lot of the high schools in Texas, they're the size of college campuses. So it had to be quite awkward. And I'm not kidding. Look up, just Google high school, college, Texas high schools, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So I was homeschooled for high school, but not because I wanted to. It was accessibility related. I say homeschooled. I basically just skipped it and got a GED. Yes. Lived in a small town for a while where I was surrounded by RBK like people all day, and as a rational scientist, it was hard to make friends. It's hard to make friends when you are rational. Always. Because people say some stuff and you're like, that doesn't make any sense. So we get here what says, because I follow her sister on social media, I knew that this was her sister's homeschool group, as the photo Kristi posted matched the ones posted on her sister's homeschool Facebook page. Her sister has been featured in Kristi's videos, and last year, Kristi made a GoFundMe for her sister with her name and photos included, so her sister is somewhat of a public figure via Kristi. Kristi's sister recently started this homeschool group with a friend because she believes God spoke to them and told them they need to rescue the children from the perverse public school system. And this is where it gets a little creepy, and I'm so sorry. Listen. So it's pumpkin planting at school in the sunshine. And you can't really see like all the things. This is like the statement from the school. And it says, we see blank family learning cooperative as a lighthouse for this fallen world, a place of rescue from the darkness and perverseness of the broken public school system. The mission is to provide a safe place for children to learn and grow in their relationship with God, building up a community of homeschoolers who are taking back their identities in Christ Jesus. We pray to be a seed planting cooperation for the kingdom of heaven. We are also here to inform and equip other churches and or communities how to plant a school in your own area. The Lord told us we would be a blueprint for more schools to come. We have faith, and we are walking boldly with the world of our Father in our hearts. Oh, wow. Okay. So I see it's not just me. I see it's not just me. I'm like looking at the comments. You're like, perverse public school is wild. I'm alarmed. Oh, geez. Yeah. This is why I wanted to talk about this. It's concerning to me. I know everybody isn't going to care, and that's fine. What would Jesus do? Not this. So, Cal. Oh. So, again, this is all alleged because I did not gather these things myself, but this was like the most comprehensive thread I had seen regarding this issue. So, here we go. On the 4th of July, a video was posted to the homeschool's social media pages showing them participating in a parade. It featured them holding signs associated with anti-LGBT sentiment. The slogan, "Don't mess with our kids," is actually the name of an anti-LGBT hate organization, and it is clear that they are associated with this hate group because the sign is promoting their hashtag. Kristi's son was in the video, face showing. I will not be posting him, but I find it interesting that she's against showing his face on social media unless it's being used to promote hate. So this is oh, good. I don't like it. And I feel like this is a video. Can I actually push play or no? I hope not. Oh, no, I don't want to put play. I don't want to see it. Sorry, I got frightened and I was like, I don't want to see that. And it says, although Kristi does not appear in the video, allowing her son to be involved in it shows her support. She also liked the video on Facebook. So this is where we say bringing the light and love of Jesus to the 4th of July parade. And then it shows her liking it. Now here's always going to be my problem with these folks. It is 2024, babes. I'm going to need y'all to get burner accounts, okay? If you want to hide how you actually feel about things, just have a burner account, baby. Like, be kind. Just do yourself a favor. Like, I'm so concerned. Why haven't y'all learned yet? Like, this is a public Facebook page and you're just out here like, it's very weird to me. You know what? Yeah, face showing. Yes. Hi, Churlish Hoe Cake. I love your name with like every ounce of my being because I like the word churlish. And then I love that you added hoe cake. My favorite is hoe bag, but I love that. Nah, because like, yeah. then we wouldn't find out. But I mean, we would, because y'all don't understand the sleuths on Reddit and TikTok. They will find out. They will find you. They will find out. So now it seems like Kristi is getting her wish of having a school on her property. The homeschool announced they're moving locations on their Facebook page with a picture from Kristi's outdoor entertainment area that has been featured on her social media. I have blocked out all faces aside from Kristi's sister. And it says, we are so thankful for a beautiful first year together at... We can't wait to be all settled into our new location in the fall. Praying everyone has an amazing summer break. So that here is Kristi's sister, the one that isn't blocked. And it's showing like that's what it looks like. And it's just showing that this is the same area. A video was also posted by someone involved with the homeschool group showing children playing in Kristi's tree net. Kristi frequently shares her tree net in her Instagram stories. Kristi has also announced that she is building her sister a house on her property, so all things point in the direction of Kristi now hosting this homeschool group on her property. All things considered, she cannot distance herself from these hateful beliefs. So it's like, homeschool is awesome. Look at the tree net. And then like that's her in her tree net. So that is where we are right now with what is happening. So, one, I said this was going to happen because it happens to all of them. And here's why. And I'm like, all of them. This might make some people uncomfortable, and I'm going to hold your hand when I say this, but if the shoe doesn't fit you, you don't have to wear it. Okay. Black women and people of color in the beauty community who pivot are used to having to do this. Just generally in life, we are used to having to pivot to other things because we realize very quickly that beauty is not where we will make our coin. Beauty is not where we will get our accolades. It's not where we will be able to build a following. It's not where we will be able to be our great selves. We know this because if we're aware, you're darker than a paper bag, we're not going to be making it. We can look at the girlie next to us. Everything could be exactly the same, except I'm black. They're not. They're getting, all this PR. They're getting sponsorships. They're getting all of these things. And then when you move over, you can get the things. We realize that. Kenny JD started in makeup. Look at her now. You also have Patricia Bright, started in beauty, now does a lot of finance stuff. Jackie Aina is now doing more like lifestyle luxury type content. We move, and we're used to having to move and change because we know that beauty is overwhelmingly and exclusively a white space. Even though we're here, we're black, and we are also people, like there's black people and people of color. I'm always going to separate the two because the two are not the same. We're aware and we know that we have to pivot. We have to move. We have to change in order to get where we want to get. However, in the beauty space, white women don't do that because they're not used to having to pivot. They're not used to having to change. They're not used to having to have their own personality all the time. And once they realize that people aren't there for anything other than put on your makeup, put on the makeup and shut up, they don't know what to do with themselves, right? So it's very easy to fall into more of the Trump conservative line for that. And I am going to, as a Texan, delineate between conservatives and Trump conservatives. Don't care if that makes you mad. I live here and I live through it. They're different people. They just are. So I'm like, they are different people. They just are. And again, I live here. I see them. I interact with them. Completely different groups of people. So with that being said, the white women in beauty who fall into this and slide this way do not understand until they're trying to like switch up their content that only their core audience will follow them there. That's why I brought up the core audience earlier. Crunchy Meg is like, you know how people like granola, like everything's like very nature based. They don't want to take any medications, even though plants are medicine. It's still a medicine. It's still a medicine. But they're very like plant based, very don't do this, don't do that. Like everything needs to come from nature, but it doesn't actually make sense because their clothing doesn't actually come from nature. Like they're still wearing polyester clothes and they're still putting makeup on their faces and they're still doing all this stuff but like it doesn't make any sense, but there they are. Overly obsessed with health, food, and clean eating. 100%. Same people who get and they're like, oh, this makeup isn't clean makeup and there's no such thing. Stop it. Stop it. Get some help. And so this is why you see them move into these spaces and they run into the issue with the views falling and all of that kind of stuff, because their core audience will follow them everywhere regardless. But the people who were there for like the makeup, right? They start seeing you doing this weird shit and they're like, yeah, I gotta bounce. Right. And the thing about going into like the very crunchy alt-right Trump conservative area is that those people don't actually have any real beliefs. They don't have like a real belief system. And that is why you can't sustain yourself financially doing that, right? Like those same people who are angry, they're back at Target again. They don't care. They're back at Target. So like that's the thing. They don't actually have a belief system to continue to follow. They're back drinking Bud Light. Like it was just for that particular moment. And now the moment's over and they're back to drinking their Bud Light and going to Target. They don't care. And that's what you see when you have your core audience who's followed you. They're just as crunchy and vanilla as you. They're going to keep going with you on this path, but they're not going to make you any money. Hence why anytime she needs a video boost or anything like that, she's going to, have a controversial beauty video, my controversial opinions, all of that kind of stuff, because it just doesn't hit without that, right? And this is how she makes all of her money. Both her and her husband do YouTube full time. I'm not at all surprised that this is where she's gone. Like many had said before, hi Erica, welcome in. She was always like this, and I don't think that this makes her a bad person. So let's be careful, because like when people fall into this kind of stuff, just like cults, all of that stuff, it doesn't necessarily make people like a bad person when they fall into this way of living. She had a very, rough birth. She is a very protective mom. And as such, having anything to fear, because fear is our greatest motivator. Fear will always be our greatest motivator. There are people in chat right now at jobs that they hate because of the fear that like, if I don't work, I won't have money, I won't have food, I won't have a place to live. I have to do that. Fear is our greatest motivator. It's why the world is the way that it is. It'd be nice if we use something else, but we don't. And so it's very easy to take somebody who suffers from anxiety and has anxious tendencies and just utilize fear as a fantastic motivator. And the thing with her that is really different is that this is her family. So it's very easy to get insulated from the rest of the world and from what anybody else thinks, because this is your family. And as Clarity said, like, yeah, that's when and how they get you, when you're scared, right? Like intelligent people are in cults right now. Intelligent people have been in cults. Intelligent people have fallen down very strange avenues just because of fear, right? And I don't think it necessarily makes somebody a bad person. I do think that there are things she could have done previously to not be here, but it does make it more difficult when your family is kind of helping to push you along into this wild world. So I'm like, into this wild world. And so I believe there is somebody who brought up, and I'm looking for it because oh, and here's a really good comment from somebody. They said, ironically, when we homeschool to keep our trans kids safe from the rural MAGA bullies who continually threaten violence and are never held accountable by like-minded administration. I work in the mental health field and am familiar with the shortfalls of homeschooling, but I can also attest that the number of the alphabet mafia, of which I'm a member, what's up, students who cannot attend school for mental health reasons due to bigotry is rising. And that's the other thing, is when I talked about accessibility and bullying, when people try to do this and take the kids out of school, they're like, no, your kid has to come. And it's like, no, don't you do that. Don't make us do that. There are places where homeschooling is illegal. I think somebody had brought it up in comments before, but there are places where it's illegal because they're not going to allow you to weirdly indoctrinate your child. And it's really important that we bring this up because like these kinds of things do not prepare your children for life. If fear is a big motivator, I urge you to realize and understand that doing this is not going to prepare your son for life. At some point, you're not going to be able to homeschool him anymore. And he's going to go out into the real world. He's going to get out there. It's going to be unpleasant. It's going to be very scary. It's like really, it's really damaging for them. And I feel like enough people do not pay attention to the stories of people who were, in fact, homeschooled in this kind of fashion and how negatively it impacted their lives. So, I just feel like every time we watch these people go down these paths, the most important thing to me is that if you believe this stuff, fine. But what I need you to do is stand 10 toes deep. What I don't like is the way that these people will act like their beliefs are perfectly fine and perfectly acceptable, but they go around and they start trying to hide things. They start trying to block people from commenting on things. They start removing posts, and that's it. Thank you, Clarity. I just saw that too. It is illegal in Germany. The line is crossed when you contribute to hate. Yes. As I tell my 5-year-old, not necessarily a bad person, but they are making bad choices. They are making terribly bad choices. Night shift nap time. LOL. Hi. There's anti-programming for cult beliefs. Yes. And sometimes people lose clarity and are vulnerable to fear-mongering tactics of cults and MLM. 100% they are. There are so many reasons behind it. If I get going on my like stream of consciousness, like we'll be here forever because I feel like we've already been here for an hour and I've kept y'all. And so it is so bothersome to me whenever this happens. Again, all of this currently is still alleged, but things have been removed. It is posted currently, from what I can tell, in 3 different Reddit threads. And I'm going to keep following the story because I'm really concerned for her as a, person who can let anxiety make me do dumb shit. But I don't think people realize when they're back here in the trenches doing all of these things that people can find you and they can see what you're doing. And they think that they're like, because they're not posting it openly, they're not posting it out on their like Instagrams and on their like media, their main media pages, that nobody's going to find it. And so where we are right now is I don't know if she's going to address it. I honestly feel fairly confident that she's just going to do the same thing that she always does whenever something happens like this. She's going to duck and hide, and she's not going to address it at all. She will have up a video about her mental health, stating that things have been really tough for her right now. She's going to be putting on some makeup and having this conversation. It will likely have some kind of sponsor in it. And that's where we're going to be. That's what's going to happen. Her core audience is going to continue to watch her. They're going to continue because they just like autistic people find other autistic people, ADHD people find, like, we just come together like little awkward zebras, I think is what a friend of my Twitch stream said. we all just like find each other because our communication styles mesh and we're like, oh, you're just like us. I think the same thing happens here, right? And so she's going to be able to find other people who are going to believe in her. I agree. I do not think that she cares about makeup. I think that it's part of money, and that's fine. I understand getting tired of making makeup content because there's only so much that you can do. And if you're creative and you want to do new and different shit, it's really hard to do that. If you're constantly making makeup content, I'm not into like constantly making makeup content. I like doing it over on Twitch because I can just be completely unfiltered. Don't have to worry about anything, but like I can say whatever I want. And I think I'm mostly off of everybody's PR list at this point. Not that I cared before, but like I can just stay and do whatever the fuck I want to and they can't stop me now. Like, but so, and that's it, Kelly. If someone is hiding beliefs, it's because they know it's wrong. Because who's on Facebook? For real. I'm not saying it to be rude. I'm not trying to be mean. Not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. I'm just saying, no, who's on Facebook right now? Like, who's legitimately like Facebook? Nobody. I just think that if you are quite literally trying to put this in spaces where people can't see you doing it, and then once you're called out, you are obviously in a lot of ways kind of blocking and hiding comments so that people don't know and can't really talk to you about it. It's the same behavior that happened when people were asking her about the James Charles situation. That's my main issue and why I'm more inclined to see this. Obviously, I'm going to wait and see. Hopefully she will have something to say, but I highly doubt she's going to. I think that her MO for a little while has just been duck and cover and continue making Hobbit House content. You know, this is my Hobbit house and our tree net and we're homeschooling and like, this is meh. Also, the ideology of the homeschool thing has wording that reminds me of a certain family that did something awful to their kids. But maybe that's just my writer brain, not whiter. I'm so sorry. That is a faux pas. I apologize, Feffy. If y'all know Feffy, you know why I feel like, can't believe that. My writer brain putting two and two together. I've been fearing that she was leaning this way since she mentioned Bible study and homeschooling. I was hoping I was wrong because I liked her and didn't want to jump to conclusions. But yeah, it feels like we are, in fact, on the jump to conclusions, Matt. And the conclusions are conclusioning. So I'm going to keep following this. I'm going to see what's going on with it. I really, again, I don't think that she's a terrible person. I think that she is someone who tried desperately to conceive for a very long time. It reached a point where she felt like it wasn't going to happen. And then it did. The dream of all dreams happened. It took place. She was able to have her beautiful son. And I think that all of that combined with anxiety and mental health issues she had prior to having her son has only exacerbated her need for control. And I think that that's anybody. I'm not diagnosing anybody. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychologist. I'm just saying this based off of what I've seen. Please don't come for me in the comments trying to be like, you're not a doctor. I know. Thank you. Crystal, I'm 42. I don't have TikTok or IG. I didn't feel like starting a whole new social media account. Yeah. I also want a gay Hobbit house, but make it like gay and like gothy. So I just feel like it can be very difficult for you to have that kind of anxiety. I feel for the neurotic moms out there. It's difficult. It's a difficult life. You know, my own mother made me scared to use a public toilet for the longest time. And it happened not when I was like a child, but when I was like a teenager. You know, I feel like I was maybe like 13 and we were using a bathroom in the mall. And she whispered to me, and like we're both in stalls next to each other. She goes, Audra, are you sitting on the seat? And I was like, and I like lifted up and I was like, no, why? And she's like, good, don't, you'll get crabs. This is what happens. I love my mom so much, but like the things that she stressed me out about that like took me being inebriated in a bar to start getting past. Listen. So like, I really hope that, I hope she addresses it. I hope that she doesn't keep falling down this path. I hope that she recognizes and realizes the importance of children, being around loads and loads of children, vaccinations, medications. You don't have to take them all, you know, like I have a lot of difficulties with medications, and don't tend to take them, not because like I hate medicine or whatever. I'm mostly intolerant to a lot of medications. So it doesn't exactly work out for me the way that I'd like to. Like acetaminophen, fine, you know, but a lot of other stuff, no. So here's hoping that this works out. You know what I'm saying? Like, girl, don't do the duck and cover and hide shit. Like, please don't do that again. Everybody's already so disappointed by you doing this already. We can't handle it if you do it again. Like, nobody can deal with you doing it again, because it's rough. Like, we don't, it's gross. And a lot of people were just expressing the same sentiment that like, and she's like, say like that she's very convinced that her views drop because there's not makeup content, there's baby content. And of course it is. Like, people who don't care about having children don't want that. They don't want that. But also, yeah. So here we are. Here I am. I'm just a lady on the internet relaying information in the most awkward, weird way that I possibly can, because this is not surprising. I called it and it sucks, but like, yeah. So, oh no, not the crap. Yeah, listen, my mother. Yes, please hit the like button if you would. I'm going to go because I want to play video games on Twitch. I really want to play more Outriders, and I also have to gossip with my friends. So about things that aren't this. I'm really hoping the best for her. I think, I'm going to leave it with that facial expression, right? As per usual, if you enjoyed this, do me a favor and go ahead and subscribe. You don't have to, you know what I mean? This is not my actual full-time job, and you wouldn't like me if it would be my full-time job, because then I would just be here all the time doing weird things, looking up information, hanging out, reacting to people's wild things. So yeah, that's all. That's it. Until next time, I appreciate y'all so much for chilling the live stream. If you made it to this point on the replay, I appreciate you as well. Thank you. You know, what was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, before I'm going to leave and tell you this. One of the reasons that I leave every stream and I say, you know, I am so pretty and so are you, is because I know that dark-skinned Black folks have had a difficult time with being able to feel beautiful. And I just want you to know all the time that you are beautiful too. And then women in general have had to pretend to be humble. Don't be humble, babes. You are beautiful and you should know that. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I'm going to eat some food because I'm hungry. Bye.